Lonely mom of three comes to feed babies in the morning and sees they'd already been fed. A single mother of triplets became concerned when she realized she had awakened without hearing her baby's screams. She notices that they've been fed and begins to wonder who fed them. Joanna is a single mother of three after her husband abandoned her and her children without providing spousal or child support. Due to lack of funds, she was forced to live in a little rundown house that had belonged to her grandmother. Joanna would wake up every morning to the cries of her hungry babies. She used to work as a hairdresser in a salon, but she had to stop because she had no one to leave her children with. She was now struggling to give her children milk, diapers, and other necessities, such as a good stroller to take them all out at once. Her only source of income was when local gas station personnel came to her house to request haircuts. They would occasionally bring family and friends, giving Joanna some spending money. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to be inspired by these real-life stories on a daily basis. Now, let's return to the story. Joanna was exhausted. She had to find a method to feed herself and her children while still caring for them during the day. Every day she played with them, fed them, bathed them, and put them to bed. The only time she got any sleep was when she was exhausted at night. Joanna awoke one morning in silence. She jumped out of bed, terrified, to check on her babies, who were sleeping just a few meters away. The babies were sleeping peacefully in the small crib they shared, much to her astonishment. Their milk bottles were close by, empty but still warm. Someone had fed the kids while she was sleeping, she realized. Front door was locked when she checked it. Another weird thing occurred the next day. A box of new diapers for the babies was on her front porch. She couldn't believe what she was seeing and assumed that the person who provided them to her had also fed the kids the day before. Who could it possibly be, she wondered. Joanna had a flashback to the children's father and wondered if it was him. She dismissed the idea since it was so unlike him. She did decide, however, to phone him. "Was it you?" she inquired as soon as he answered the phone. "Was it anything I did?" he said, angry. He said, "Did you come over to feed the kids and change their diapers?" On the other end of the telephone, a man scowled. "What exactly are you referring to? Why should I assist you? Please stop calling me and erase my phone number. You might get me in trouble, and my new wife might catch me," he informed her. "Excuse me, I was just thinking." "Well, you were mistaken. Please delete my phone number and don't call me again. I'm not sure what I'll do if I wind up destitute because of you. Please don't bother me," the man remarked before hanging up. Joanna exhaled deeply. When she found out she was pregnant with triplets, her ex-husband abandoned her to marry a wealthy woman. His new life gave him the opportunity to live the life he had always desired. Meanwhile, he abandoned her, leaving her to raise three children on her own. In the evening, Joanna decided to leave a letter near the baby's crib in hopes that the person would return the next day. "I'd like to thank you for your efforts, but I'm not sure who you are. What are your credentials?" she penned. Joanna was surprised to see a huge stroller for the three babies by her front door the next morning. She couldn't help but exclaim, "Oh my goodness!" A letter on the stroller's box read, "I'd like to express my gratitude. You already assisted me. Sam is my name." Joanna was crying. She carried her babies in a handmade baby carrier, but she couldn't go out for lengthy periods of time because she was scared it would break. The stroller was something she'd always wanted for her children but couldn't afford. She asked Sam, "What's Sam's name?" Joanna attempted to recall if she had ever met somebody named Sam, but she couldn't think of anyone. She hid in the children's room that night. At around midnight, as her babies were fast asleep, she heard a disturbance. Someone had just unlocked the kitchen's wide window. Soon after, a stranger entered the apartment, dressed in an old coat and seeming homeless. He sported disheveled long hair and a matching beard. He was holding toys that he placed on the children's bed. The man was startled when Joanna emerged from the closet. He jumped at the sight of Joanna and shouted, "Oh gosh! I apologize for interrupting. I really am. Please believe me when I say that I'm a good guy. I'm not here to cause anyone any damage." He stated this because he was scared Joanna would assume he was a burglar. Joanna shrugged her shoulders. "I know you've been assisting me with my children. What are your credentials?" she inquired. "I'm sure you don't remember who I am, but I do. You went to the park one day and fed your three babies one by one. You spread them out on the lawn," the man began to speak. "You were eating your sandwich when you noticed me. Despite the fact that you didn't have much food, you chopped your sandwich in half for me," he revealed himself. Joanna was taken aback. She never expected such a small act of compassion to pay out in such a large way. I hadn't eaten in days on that particular day. I was on the verge of passing out. I'll never forget how helpful you were to me. Sam is my name. Joanna realized Sam hadn't eaten, so she opened a can of beans for him to eat. He revealed that he had lost his wife and small children in an accident while eating. He couldn't cope with the grief, so he turned to vices. He ended up losing everything and becoming homeless. I sometimes sing in the park in hopes of getting some money, Sam explained. I followed you after seeing you and your children and discovered you lived here. I understood you didn't have anyone else to aid you, so I decided to sneak in and assist you in any way I could. I bought milk, diapers, the stroller, and toys with the money I got from singing at the park, he elaborated. Joanna was crying. While the idea of a stranger entering her home with ease terrified her, she was pleased that it was Sam, a kind man with only good intentions. She said to Sam, "I don't know how I'll ever repay you." With a shake of his head, Sam stated that he expected nothing in return. However, Joanna was adamant. She offered to cut his hair because that was the only thing she could do. Sam agreed and returned the next day. She shaved his beard and clipped his hair, and they were both taken aback by the transformation that had occurred right before their eyes. Sam was a charming young guy who had been dealt the worst hand in life. As Sam assisted Joanna with the babies, Sam and Joanna began to see each other more frequently. They became acquainted and fell in love. The couple rebuilt their life together, refurbishing the modest property and setting up Joanna's home salon in one of the rooms. Sam secured a job singing in the afternoons at a local restaurant, which allowed him to save some money for his new family. Sam and Joanna married eventually, and Sam adopted Joanna's 3 children. They were a lovely family who worked hard to get beyond their circumstances. What can we take away from this story? The majority of people will remember how you made them feel. Although Joanna couldn't recall the act of kindness she performed for Sam, it had an impact on him. Sam couldn't get over how happy Joanna made him, so he resolved to repay her. It's said that what goes around comes around. Joanna, despite her limited resources, made it a point to assist Sam. Despite his own lack of resources, Sam made it a point to assist Joanna. The goodness you spread out into the world comes back to you in some form. Share this story with your friends and family. It might motivate them and brighten their day. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone else who might enjoy it as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.